talk about fears. Let's talk about love. Yeah, I got fears, but I ain't got no love.
Today I want to talk about the case of Jeremy Bright. Jeremy Bright was a 14-year-old kid in middle school who disappeared August 14th, 1986. I saw this on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, so I wanted to dive into it. Unsolved Mysteries kind of gives me like inspiration for some reason. Like when I see cases on Unsolved Mysteries, more than any other show. Maybe it's because of watching it when I was a kid and being, shaping me to be a detective for the future. But regardless, this case is another one that has stuck with me, and I wanted to look at it. With the newspapers, there was discrepancies, mostly among the timelines. But this is what I've figured out so far. So Jeremy Bright was 14 years old. He had lived in a place called Grants Pass, which is an hour and 58 minutes or 59 miles, depending on what you want to go by, from where he disappeared, which is Myrtle Point, Oregon. Jeremy Bright goes missing from Myrtle Point, Oregon, August 14th, 1986. He is there because he grew up there, okay? He grew up in Myrtle Point, but then his mom and dad divorced, or there was some sort of arrangement where he went to Grants Point and lived with his mother. But on this particular day, which is normal for every year at Myrtle Point, is they had a weeks-long fair. In my neck of the woods, we had the same thing called the Grange Fair. So mom says, you know what, you can go back and stay with stepdad and attend the fair with your 10-year-old sister. He does that. He brings along his friend Johnny. We're going to get into Johnny. In some places he's described with the last name as Fish. Others it's Gray. Again, discrepancies. Police report would tell you this. But it doesn't matter. His first name's Johnny, obviously. So he's staying with his stepdad, who is a logger. He's 14. We have to look at victimology, because victimology will tell you what he would do and what he wouldn't do. Now, that is not always the case. There's some times where you'll go against that, but it gives you a good sense of where your investigation should take you. This is a prime example of that. So Jeremy Bright was an athletic individual at age 14. He was big. From what I see, at age 14, he was 6 foot tall and weighed 140 pounds. Now, what does that tell you? Well, a lot of people, that tells you nothing. But it tells me something. So not only is he athletic, he is back home. He's not in a foreign place. He's in a place he grew up, so he knows a lot of people. Now, the fair will bring in people from surrounding areas. You have to take that into consideration as well. But just because somebody's athletic and knows a lot of people in the area, that's not enough for me. And it shouldn't be enough for any other investigator. You have to know more about victimology. This case is littered with possible scenarios, which includes the partaking of drugs, the possibilities of that. Now, those are things that you have to dive into. If an informant or a tipster tells you this, you have to be able to verify it or debunk it. And how do you do that? Not by talking to his mom or his family. Yes, you have to do that, but talk to his friends. That's where you're going to find out things. And it ain't a simple question as is, did Jeremy do drugs? Because their answer could be no. But follow that up with a question like, did he succumb to peer pressure? Okay? Those things are important in determining what scenarios could have happened. Remember, in all cases, especially, unsolved cases where you just don't know, you always want to know. That's the outcome that you want. And how do you do that? Possibilities. Okay, they're up here. And we want to start deducing things to get to a probability. That's how you solve cases. So, not enough about victimology, but what I do know, he's big for his size, athletic. I think he won some awards in basketball. He really enjoyed basketball. But I need to know more about his party habits. He's age 14. And the reason I'm bringing up drugs and party habits is because that plays into some scenarios that investigators got from informants and tipsters. So, the timeline. Again, this varies depending upon what source you go to. That's why you need police reports. But in this case, I don't have them. So, we're going to go with Wednesday, August 13th, 1986. He attends the fair with his friend Johnny. I don't know enough about what happened during that. Did they meet somebody new? I don't know enough. Things start getting interesting the next day, which is Thursday, August 14th. For some reason, he's at the fair, but he's not with Johnny. He's with his sister. Okay, this is the first red flag to me. Not that something nefarious took place, but it's different. You have a 14-year-old kid. Goes back to victimology. I want to know about his relationship with his sister. A 14-year-old boy is not going to want to hang out with his 10-year-old sister at the fair. Okay? Now maybe his victimology would tell you something different. That's what you need to know. But I guarantee you want to hang out with his friends, especially if he brought Johnny with him. So where was Johnny? At some point around 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, he gets split from his 10-year-old sister. Now, whether that was intentional, hey, I'm going here, you're going there. It has to be that way, and it can't just be we're splitting accidentally. We got lost in the crowd and split because according to Johnny's sister, or Jeremy's sister, I'm sorry, they were supposed to meet back at the Farris wheel at 5 o'clock, and he didn't show. That's a red flag. Again, you have to go back to victimology. Is he responsible? If he says he's going to be somewhere, will he be there? Why didn't he show? Initially, I'm thinking, okay, between 2 and 5, right now, is when something happened to Jeremy Bright. Yet, if we continue on, he is next seen at 9:40 that night at a bar in which his grandmother owned, and he met his stepdad there and asked for money. They seen nothing out of ordinary. Do I find anything out of the ordinary of that? Maybe. A little bit, knowing that he's gone missing. What did he need the money for? 9:40 at night. That's not real late for a 14-year-old. I don't know if he had a set curfew of when he was supposed to be in, but he's by himself. That is what bothers me a little bit about this. If he was with a friend and they both came in, I would, I don't know. Just one of those things that makes me, he's by himself and he's asking for money. Why? What time's the fair close? And how much money did he ask for? That's the last time that his family saw him. That's the last time really anybody saw him that's been confirmed. Now, after that point, there's various sightings of him by numerous people, but none of them really credible. Initially, Mom, I left out a part, and I'll go back. At some point on Thursday, before he split with his sister, again, this is very confusing because there's contradictory, so I'm not going to pinpoint a date or time. During that fair time, so on August 13th, which is a Wednesday, he's at the fair with his buddy Johnny. The 14th is when he disappears and he's with his sister. On that day, he calls his mom back home and says, everything's okay. We're at the fair. She says, I'm coming to get you on, I believe it was Saturday, 8:15. It could have been Friday. Regardless, again, it's all messed up, the timeline. You need the police reports to know for sure. But within those 3 or 4 days, Mom shows up to get Johnny at stepdad's. He's nowhere to be found. Again, the last known credible sighting is by grandmother and stepdad at the tavern when he asked for money around 9:40 on Thursday night. And again, this is after he did not meet his sister at 5 p.m. at the Farris wheel like he's supposed to. I need to know whether that is something that is out of character for him. That's very important to know. Not that something happened, but an event may have took place. An event being not his murder, not his deciding to run away, some sort of thought process. He met with somebody and it precluded him from going to meet his sister. Not being forced, could be. He's being forced to stay away to not meet his sister. But that's highly unlikely because only 4 hours later, he's at the tavern getting money from his stepdad. For some reason, he didn't meet his sister. I need to know why. Okay? That's an important part of this. Initially, Mom gets there the next day or 2 days after to pick Jeremy and his sister up and take them back home, and he's nowhere to be found. But what she does find, I think, remember when a few weeks or, I don't know, a couple months now, where I used to do Ken's key clue? My key clue in this is what she finds. She goes into the house of the stepdad, and on the stand, she finds Jeremy's wallet. She finds his keys to the apartment that they own back in Grants Point, and a new watch that he had bought. Okay, why is that a key clue?